Hi, everyone. Dr. Shirlene here, and it's our famous Fridays with my guests from the Authors and Speakers Visibility Playground. I'm really excited that you are here with me today. Thank you for joining in. And today we're going to talk about disarray and what it means to have disarray in your home or your office. Because when you are an entrepreneur, it is so difficult to work when there's a lot of activity going on around you or when you are totally unorganized. And today I'm going to have my Feng Shui expert on, and she's been with me before. You may have caught her show at another time, and not too long ago, actually. And we were talking about Feng Shui then. But the big thing about disarray in your home makes it so difficult for you to do your work, for you to be able to accomplish your goals, because then you're trying to find stuff. I was just talking to a client and he was trying to find things and he was putting piles on the couch. Oh, I know it's here. It's got to be here somewhere. And finally he found it. It was way deep under the pile. And it took him at least 5 minutes to look through all this stuff that he had piled up before he could get to the one thing that he needed so that we could discuss what his topic was. So that's what I want to talk to you about today, because you don't want to have that habit of just throwing stuff on top of a pile or having tons and tons of books that suck up all the energy in your home. Or, oh my gosh, my favorite is stacks of paperwork all over the place. So let me just give us a little bit of break here, and then I'll be right back with you. Hi, and welcome back to Ask the Expert. As I said, I am Dr. Shirlene Reeves, here to have a bit of fun with you on Friday. I love to end my Fridays chatting with you about something that's going on or something that I learned. And this is one of those things that I learned to try, and it's one of the first things I talk to my clients about, is straightening up their mess. It doesn't really matter where it is in the house. It has an effect on you. And so I'm going to bring on my dear friend, Claire, who has had 6 kids. I just can't believe she had 6 kids. Never, I would shoot myself if I had 6 kids. I don't know how she did it, but you could not have disarray when you have 6 kids. And she is a Feng Shui specialist. And I love it because she's helped me so much with my own house and my own life when it comes to Feng Shui. And you might think, that doesn't work. But I got to tell you, it really does work. So let's bring her on. Hi, Dot. Welcome to the show. So good that you're here with me.
Hey, it's a delight. I love to talk about this topic because, boy, right now I need some organization myself. So I'm following my own tips of wisdom. When we get involved in a program, so many times, we have all these papers all over the place, but I cannot start another program or another project until I clear up the mess from the first one. And so I've just experienced so often that it really is challenging to stay focused when there's a lot of stuff hanging around.
Yes. And you were talking about those programs that you've taken in the past, and I know a lot of my students have too, and they got these binders all over the place. And they probably haven't gone through them in 5 years. They have no idea what's in them. And then when they look at them, they don't even read all those copious notes that they took when they were in the course that they were in.
Well,
So
I certainly have had that experience myself. I've noticed that I'm working with a client right now that she didn't have any place to store her stuff. She's in a one room, one bedroom right now, and she has her stacks of boxes in the tub. And they are all these binders with all these workshops that she's gone to throughout the last 20, 25 years.
So what does it mean when there's all this stuff around Feng Shui wise?
Well, it's like for instance, let's take a book that you have on your shelves or your books on the shelves and you haven't read them. You read them maybe when they came in the house, but you've never read them since. It's stagnant energy. You know, we really need to be using things in order for the energy to be uplifting. And so it stagnates and it collects. It's like, you know, you find dust bunnies in the corner of your home in a room, and you know, a little bit accumulates more because it gets sticky. And that stickiness is negative energy. So it's really important to clean it, to wipe off the books, to decide whether or not you really need to keep the books and pass them on. So it's like when I was talking with this client the other day about all of her binders from all the workshops that she's been to, I said to her, what was it that attracted you about this class? It was the energy of the teacher. And the energy of the teacher is why we keep the notes. And it's kind of an illusion that we're really connected unless we actually open them and actually follow through and take action on what we learned. If we haven't taken action, it was all just about being in the energy of the teacher. And so ditch it.
Well, do you think that they figure they can go back and refer to it, or, you know, like some, I have plenty of books myself, you know that. And I've gotten rid of so many books in the past, so many books. But then a lot of people send me books and then I go, well, where did this come from? And so then yet I have another book. I would just put 2 on the bookshelf that people sent me that I haven't had a chance to look at. So am I just supposed to get rid of those?
Well, I would say if I was really being a minimalist, I would say get rid of it. If you, when you hold the book and it gives you a positive vibration and lifts your energy, you may then want to keep it. But passing them on, you know, it's like the energy of anything that comes into our home is sometimes the positive part and the uplifting part is just in the buying or just in the gift that is given to you. And if we never open the book, or even maybe we have read the book, but we've never gone back, unless it's going to be a reference book, and a reference book means within 10 years, I would say even a couple of years. So many times we have books on our shelf that are 20 years old and we never touch them. So the more we're able to let go of, the whole idea is that we're wanting to open our hearts and our space in our mind and in our body to receive new opportunities, to receive what's coming into our life now versus hanging on to what was. So we have to open ourselves for that. And the less that we have to lug around us and you know, carrying this big bag of stuff that gets really heavy, you know, the more we're able to be light and open to seeing those opportunities.
So, you know, I think that when we have big piles of papers on our desk, and I mentioned that in the intro, it just kind of gets in the way. It affects how we perform in our business, don't you think?
Well, I definitely do think that. And I know some people don't feel like they're affected by the energy of their stuff or their piles. And I didn't know I was until I finally was introduced to Feng Shui, because I did like order, but I didn't have order with 6 kids. It was constantly, I was cleaning up and I was like, overwhelmed with so much stuff all around them. And, you got 6 kids and all their books and all their coats and everything else landing in the entranceway of your house. It does kind of affect you. But it was when I got involved with Feng Shui, it was like, oh, this light bulb went off. And I thought, oh, maybe I'm not crazy. Maybe order is important for me to stay focused. And most of us would be able to stay focused and to be more at a cellular level centered and balanced. So that's my take on the clutter, because I had a father who had a desk that was piled high, and he would know if I pulled one sheet of paper out or somebody was on his desk making a change. Now, how he knew that, I don't know, but I vowed I would not be that way. Because it's still, he was a workaholic too. So he was at work all the time. So I don't think he was that organized with the piles.
So what happens when why do you feel like we aren't organized, or that it affects our work when we have all this around us? Tell us a little bit about your thoughts on that, or what the Feng Shui lesson is with that.
Well, when we're looking at Feng Shui, we're talking about energy flow. It's the chi flowing into our space. So for instance, if you arrive at somebody's front door and the door can't open all the way, it's affecting the chi energy coming into your space. So that's going to affect anybody that walks into your space. If then you walk into a couch, let's say, and it kind of bounces you out of the room, and you want it to be open enough so that the energy flows, that the money can flow in, that, prosperity can flow in every way, whether it's prosperity around relationships or prosperity around wealth, and our health. So the more energetically the space is open, the more likely there's going to be more harmony in the home.
And I know you do clearing too. Once they get all this stuff, I mean, you just did a fabulous challenge. I loved your 5-day challenge called Tidy Up to Lighten Up. That was really fun. And it was fun to see what people did with it. And now you're moving into the course where they're going to really make a difference in their office, right?
Yeah, I'm calling it Feng Shui room by room. It seems like a lot of people have to take one piece at a time versus the whole house. It tends to be a little overwhelming to have to deal with the whole house at once. And a lot of my clients are entrepreneurs, and they're claiming that they're wanting more clients and that they want to increase their money flow. And yet what happens when I walk into an office is it's shut down. It blocks you. They're maybe hiding in a corner, or there may be piles on their desk. And what is the message and the story that gives your clients? If you can't see somebody, you can't find them. So we look at the energy of the office in terms of where the position is in your desk, whether you are placed in a position that feels more empowering. And what makes it more empowering is that you can see when somebody walks up to you. So many times we have desks that are in the position where the chair is, the door is behind them. And Feng Shui is kind of about safety, that you're not scared when somebody walks in and all of a sudden touches your shoulder, or whatever. But so the same with the energy. If the energy is spirit flowing into your space, you want to invite spirit in so that it's flowing in the room and it's flowing in your office so that you can do your work and that you're visible.
Now, what are you going to teach people in this course that you're just starting out with? And the reason that we're mentioning this is because Dot does this ongoing. And I think what she teaches is just phenomenal. I love what she teaches. And I've been with her year after year, watching her excel in what she is teaching. So give us a little idea about what people are going to learn about how to feng shui their office. Let's just put it that way.
Well, we started up with disarray. So, that's still always number one. I can place your desk in the power position. And if you have boxes all over the place and you have books that are, crowding you out, energetically, it's not going to make a whole lot of difference. So it's kind of a combination of both. Tidying up, getting a little bit more organized, as well as, how your furnishings are positioned. Because what is a message that you're wanting to be put out there into the universe? Are you really ready to hang your shingle and say, I'm a businesswoman, I'm in power, I have I'm not just self-employed, I'm not just have a hobby, that I really am in business and I really do invite clients into my business. And so you want to attract those clients to you. And there are ways to position your furnishings, as well as enhancements that can be done that can remind you of expanding yourself, being more visible, and not hiding under that carpet anymore.
All right, so let's talk about these 6 kids. Because people have kids and they're at home, going to school at home now. They've just got so many people in their household. So how do you manage this when you have that many people? You would know, you've been there.
Well, that is tricky, I have to admit. But, sometimes it's more about choosing a spot in which you're going to work and making that off limits for anyone else to interfere. Mm-hmm. And so it may be that you have to set your desk up in a combined room, that may be also for other activities in that same room. Like one of my clients, she has her grandkids all the time. And so she has to make her office also available for them to play and do games, but she's now set it up so that her desk is in the power position and the kids aren't the center of attention. Before, the kids had the power position in the room and where she had them do their activities. And then she also made a space for them in another corner, because she does have a fairly decent sized office. And so she has separated the activities so that she's more in charge and they aren't controlling her life.
Wow, that's brilliant advice. That really is brilliant advice, because I know when my grandkids come by, it's really not easy to deal with, because suddenly everything's in disarray, and it happens very quickly. It's just like, boom, they walk in and there's blankets and there's shoes and there's whatever toy they walked in with, and they just dump them. There's no place for them specific, so they don't know where to put them away. So they just dump them, and then suddenly they're everywhere.
Yes, and I can certainly relate.
Yes, I know you can. That's why I'm talking to you about it.
And before I knew anything about feng shui, way back when the kids were smaller, I was very, very aware of the fact that I had no place in the home, because I never had established it, that was mine. And it really requires us to establish a spot, whether it's one chair or a desk or whatever it is, and that we do set some boundaries. And I think that's hard to do.
And having a place just for you is really important, right? It's really important. But then it's setting boundaries on how to keep those people, everybody else, out of that place. I think that's the hard part.
I think the hard part is claiming it and then making it kind of a rule in your household that this is your spot.
And when you had
I
6
didn't,
kids, why didn't you claim a place?
I didn't have the confidence or the know-how to even have the language at that time to create that for myself. You know, I've come a long way since then. So it was just not in my, it had more to do with my attitude about myself than it did with anyone else. I didn't know how to claim me and my value. And
That's
so
very
that's
interesting.
one of the, yeah, it is about valuing oneself and valuing your work and asking for a space.
Yeah, and that's sort of hard sometimes with a husband, or I also see husbands don't have a space either. I don't know how people function without having a space where they can work. I don't know how. And I have a friend who works in bed, and she puts all of her stuff, she's single, except for her dog, and she puts all of her stuff on the other side of the bed, and she sleeps with it there. Then she wakes up, she picks up her computer, puts it on her lap. She doesn't get out of bed to work. I've never seen anything like that. And I was wondering if there's anything about Feng Shui around that. Is there?
Oh, well, absolutely. I would call that a no-no because, you know, I had another client who had moved into this space, and first off, the feng shui of the home, you know, I don't read other people, but I do notice. I wasn't asked to read their space. The feng shui of the space was off, and she ended up working on her. She had an office, but she ended up working on her bed with her computer, or they worked on the couch with the computer, and their business was successful, and then it went downhill. Once they moved into that place, it went downhill, and he finally it shut down. And you know, the energy of our home, in terms of its shape, has an effect on us, as well as in terms of you know, each room individually and the effect it has on us. So when we do work in our bedroom, you know, that really says to me that we really don't have a business. And so if we're really claiming we have a business, we need to get it out of the bedroom, because the bedroom is where we need to rest and rejuvenate. Our body does not need the business in the bedroom.
I mean, you never have to make the bed. I was trying to think of the positives on this. I don't know why she's doing it. So number one might be, you never have to make the bed. You don't have to get dressed or get up, other than to put a top on nowadays, especially. What else? You have everything right there. You don't even have to get up and walk to another room. No other room is messy except the bed. But she never really feels like she goes to work. I think that's the biggest problem. And right now, of course, she's not doing very well with her work. And I say, of course, because she's a travel agent and people are having challenges traveling. But I just think it's kind of funny that you just can just put your computer right on your lap, and there it is. That's it. There's my business. And I see people do that on the couch all the time. And I tell people, entrepreneurs all the time, get off the couch. You know, you're not at work when you're sitting on the couch. Find a space, like you said, put your computer there and go to work. It's just that one shift, I think, from the doctor side of me, I think shifts everything. Just that one shift of having to go to a place to do your work.
Well, definitely, I agree with that. But I think the biggest challenge with doing everything in your bed and not ever getting dressed also sends a message out to the universe. So this one client who was really, really successful for 2-3 years, maybe it was 4 years, and she just grew her business very rapidly. She would never get dressed. And she would even sometimes go out in her pajamas to the store. And what kind of message does that give to the universe?
Yes.
That really it's really important to dress for the business occasion. It's like, it doesn't, sloppy clothes, if I were doing the Feng Shui thing of tidying up, let's get rid of them. They don't lift our energy. And that vibration doesn't attract people. Now, clean, you don't have to be dressed up all the time, but clean clothing, but getting dressed every day. In my Tidy Up to Lighten Up class, I threw in, I asked everybody to make a commitment for the next 30 days. And what was their commitment going to be? And they chose 9 days to make this commitment to change. And I threw in one thing was make your bed. And one person decided that's the only thing she was going to change. She was going to make her bed. Now, I kind of doubt whether she probably even is making her bed.
Yeah.
But there's a big difference with that. Leaving the bed unmade, leaving all your stuff on it energetically is not uplifting. And we really want to be in a space that raises our vibration, gives us joy. Mm-hmm. And does that really give us joy? Does that lift our energy?
I don't think it does when you just don't even get out of bed. And she ends up there almost all day because, she doesn't have a lot of work. So she just futzes around on her computer. But I think you're right. I think the message that we send when it has to do with our work is what we receive in clients. And so if we are not really at work, we're not going to receive any clients. There's not going to be anybody that wants to work with someone who stays in bed all day. And you could tell, you could see the headboard behind her. I just laugh. What can you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think most people don't consider the story that is telling the universe. By not having a place to do your work, by not getting dressed all day, by not making your bed, it's kind of is a messy story, and messy in terms of your business. There's not any order and form to your business. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I call, we're doing a hobby instead of doing really hanging out our shingle and saying, I'm in business.
Right. Because you can't, I don't know. Some of the millennials go to work in their pajamas. But I think if you're an entrepreneur, that's not a very smart idea, because you have to, if you don't look the part or act the part or make the effort to be that part, then it's not going to go anywhere. It just can't possibly go anywhere with regard to the income.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of it has to do with our own self-esteem, mm-hmm. what we think about ourselves, mm-hmm. And if we're willing to get up in the morning and get dressed and have a presence that is, I'm in business presence, it's going to make a difference in terms of the universe and attraction.
Right. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. And I'm so delighted that you came on the show today. I just resurrected her and said, hey, I need you to come on the show today. We got to talk about disarray because so many of my clients have been experiencing that. And I thought, Dot's perfect for this.
When you're talking about disarray, we've had a challenging year. Mm-hmm. And we are home a lot more. So there's less to get dressed up about, and to go out about. Mm-hmm. So I think that kind of flavors a little bit of maybe a more depressed or low energy feel, because we're not able to socialize as much as we were. We're not able to travel. There's so many things that we're unable to do right at the moment. And so how do you shift that and turn it around to find the gift in it versus the disappointment or the heavy energy around it?
Yes, I agree. It's hard. It's hard to even go shopping for anything, I think.
Why go shopping for any clothes, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Halfway up.
What is the point? Well, Dot, thank you so much for being with me today. I really appreciate it. And I know I'll be talking to you soon.
Yeah. Well, it's been fun. I appreciate it. And every time you ask me to do things like this, I first say, "Oh, I don't want to do that," but then I change my mind and say, it does me good to get out there, because this is a part of being visible. And I
Yes.
appreciate your supporting me.
Well, thank you for being here. Well, everyone, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a little something. And I will see you next Friday with another guest from the Authors and Speakers Visibility Playground. Bye-bye.